You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Team Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Murder in the First After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Murder in the First After Show.
I didn't expect this song.
It's Jeopardy!
I know, I didn't know that.
Well, I hope so. It's pretty iconic.
It is pretty
People
iconic.
know it.
All right, guys, welcome into the Murder in the First After Show right here on AfterBuzzTV.com, Season 1, Episode 8. You win some, you lose some, and you can't have double jeopardy, hence the song here that we've got to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about today, so welcome in. Thank you for joining us yet again on Murder in the First. I'm Bobby, as always, joined by Marina, JB, and Monse way down at the end.
Hello.
I've got the short chair again, so I'm just going to sink slowly down into the table. So Marina's really tall anyways, but you're going to look like 3 feet taller than me by the end of the show.
I always
so.
tower people everywhere I go anyway, so I'm used to it.
No, I
Business as
believe
usual.
that.
Totally.
All right, hey, we got a lot to talk about today. Let's just cut right to the chase. I know we don't usually do this on AfterBuzz, but we have to today. Let's begin with the end.
Let's do it.
we
Let's
have
go
to.
back. Let's Tarantino it.
So we know, well, this is my first question. Eric said he killed that dumb bitch. What were his exact words? I did kill that dumb bitch. Is he telling the truth?
I think he is. I mean, maybe he didn't, like, physically push her off, but, I mean, he's involved to the fact where it's like he could be convicted of her death.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he ordered the lawyer, the ponytail guy, to actually, like, physically push her off or hire some other hitman. But I think
Lawyer's
he
my
was
guy.
like, she needs to go. I'm making the decision to have her killed.
This is what I think happened. I think he actually did go there to give her job back and maybe apologize to her. And then he got there and she wasn't as apologetic as he would expect. And she threw some things on his face and she threatened him to say things about his life and the things that he was doing to the media. And that's when...
Okay, what about the
Pushed
oral
her.
sex portion of the night?
That's a good question.
Very good question.
Here's what I think happened. I think we have to look at the pregnancy. I think we had the oral sex portion of the night. They were feeling close. He said that was the way they got intimate. That he literally said that on the stand. So I think that they felt close. They were intimate, and she dropped the bomb and said, "Hey, guess what? I just found out I'm pregnant.
Give me more drugs.
And-
Killer.
Give me more drugs." Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, if she knew she was pregnant and she's
Yeah.
on the ecstasy or whatever, that's a little weird. But I think she found out she was pregnant and told him, and he flipped out, lost it, realized he didn't want a kid or whatever
Yeah.
it was, and killed her.
I think he killed her.
I'm with JB. I don't think he killed her. I just think he's involved.
So he was. You guys
I
really
think he
think he
knows.
ordered somebody to kill?
Yeah, or he knows what happened, however you want to put it. But I don't think he killed her, no.
Okay.
I think it was less like a heat of the moment passion thing. I mean, it could have been like where he made the decision based on learning about the pregnancy, because that does sound like a pretty big motive to be like, okay.
And that
no
sounds like
mas.
sounds like an Eric thing to do.
Right. Very classic Eric.
Yeah. Classic Eric. What a guy.
Just classic E. He does that all the time. But I do think maybe he was involved in a lot more murders. I mean, in the first episode, they kind of went through a bunch before we got to Cindy as sort of the show. So I think maybe he does just think he's all that and can sort of do whatever he wants and kill everybody and that gets in his way. Just kind of because he's so rich and so powerful, it's like, and it just went to his head, I think.
What if we're looking at this differently and he said, I did kill that dumb bitch, but he didn't say I murdered her, which may be a distinction. What if there was, you would call it manslaughter or an accidental death or something else like that, and he still knows he's relatively guilty, but what if they were so high and drunk and whatever that they had a mistake or she fell or she got her so messed up that then she fell, so he knew he was kind of responsible anyways. So maybe killing isn't just cold-blooded murder, but he's sort of saying to them, I was there. Now,
Like,
calling her a dumb bitch, though, tells me...
Yeah.
A little too soon.
Yeah, it's the way he feels about her. So, I don't know. I think he's a murderer. I was wrong about Hertzberg. I like how you guys are trying to keep Hertzberg and other people alive because you want Bill to be the guy still.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's 2 episodes left. If it's that simple, where he's the guy and he did everything, then what are we going to talk about for the next 2 episodes?
That's the thing that I'm wondering about, and I mean, screw it. Let's do a couple predictions right now. We got more later. What happens in the next 2 episodes then? Because we have 2 full episodes and the case is closed.
Right. I mean,
supposedly.
The first thing, my guy Bill,
Yeah.
the pilot, have to go back to him. He's obviously pissed off after learning that Eric sort of threw him under the bus, like, completely.
Yeah.
He sabotaged his whole marriage. So I think he's definitely going to have a big role, possibly not necessarily frame him, but if there were other murders involved, Eric's dad, obviously we started off the episode with Chris, that whole thing. They could be colluding together to sort of get back at Eric for a different murder. Obviously, they talked about double jeopardy and the fact that you can't be convicted of the same crime once you're proven innocent. If they go with a different murder, or I believe there's a couple other loopholes with double jeopardy. I mean, that is a loophole in itself. But
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm with you. I think that they're going to try and bring Eric back to the stand on another
Yeah,
completely
I think he's
different
going
case.
down in the end. That's my...
I will give you something totally different. This is like my biggest prediction of the thing, and I know we're doing them early, and we'll get to the actual show. Don't worry, folks. I think Bill Wilkerson is going to murder Eric in
That's
one
what
of
I
the
was
next
gonna
2.
say. Darn it, Bobby.
I believe you took a prediction from me like a few weeks ago, so now we're even.
Fine. I was waiting for my opportunity, and
You
gotta
gotta,
just
jump,
jump
in there.
in,
You gotta
yeah.
jump in there.
But we're
next
right,
time I'm
right?
just gonna elbow to
Wow.
the side.
yeah, just right to the ribs.
Bloody nose on the show. Okay, this is kind of like an orange-red shirt. If you're gonna do it, this is the day to do it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that's the next logical step because Bill
Yeah.
took offense to that and then cut it off and didn't want another question. Then Eric gave him the answer. Yeah, I sent the video. Bill still loves his wife. He messed up. He knows it. I think he's got motive and maybe means down the road to kill Eric.
Yeah. And don't you think that if there is another season, which I hope there is, it would be a little too boring if it was all about Eric again?
Well,
yeah.
I'm of the impression that if there is another murder in the first season, it's a new case.
Right,
We
that's
may
what
have
I
the same
thought.
detectives, but I mean, it's a new entirely supporting
Yeah,
class.
okay.
So it may not even be Bill or this murder. Anyway.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it makes sense for them to kill Eric off,
Yeah.
and then Bill goes to jail.
Yeah, treat this like a mini series anyways. If you
Yeah.
get a second season, it's almost like a Law and Order where it's a new story. I'm telling you, I think Bill is going to be a murderer.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in the next 2 episodes.
Ooh,
That is
the plot
interesting.
thickens. Yeah, no, I think Bill is coming back like with vengeance, but I don't know if he's a killer. If it turns out that Eric did do all the murdering up until now, I don't think that's enough for Bill to sort of turn into a murderer.
Yeah.
Because then he goes down too. I think he definitely wants to get back at Eric, which, I'm pretty sure he's going down either way, whether it
Right.
be being killed by his own peeps, so to speak.
His homies.
Or going to jail or something. Just Terry just blindsiding him or something.
Maybe,
That's an interesting question.
maybe he'll get away.
Maybe.
Maybe he'll poison him somehow, and Bill will get away, and he was to live the good life with Eric's money.
I feel like Eric's too smart.
Well,
Right.
let's talk about that, about Eric getting away or maybe trying to get away because Eric's got a ton of money.
Yeah.
His dad was blackmailing him for what, $50,000 or something? That's nothing for Eric. He didn't want to pay it. His dad winds up dead. Cindy had a kid. You're as rich as Eric is. You can pay for the kid. Just pay her off. You never have to see her again. What's the difference? Didn't want to pay her off, and now she's dead. He's told Bill in this episode, I got your back now. I'm going to support you. You're with me now. And Bill's like, what if you lose? And they were wondering. But what makes you think Eric's actually going to have Bill's back? Why would he pay and help Bill and support Bill? Why doesn't he kill Bill too? Why doesn't he kill everyone around him who wants money because he thinks that that's all people are in it for? And Eric actually turns out to be a huge serial killer, which I think you floated a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I saw. They were sort of foreshadowing a lot of the dirt on Eric's posse everywhere. They sort of all look guilty in different ways. I guess I'm most curious about why Eric's doing this. It seems like, he's a pretty private person. He doesn't have any family, and pretty much everybody that was revealed to be family is dead now. So, it seems like he's kind of creating an environment where people like have to stay close with him. That's why, maybe he saw Bill going to his wife and sort of getting away, and he was like, no, man, like, you are my friend, we should like hang out, and he wants to like get him to be single so they can like go out and hang out or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, it seemed like in this episode it sort of seemed like he was like, oh man, I'm doing you a favor, like it's better that you're not married, and like you don't really want that.
Yeah. Which is a weird thing for him to...
Exactly. I mean, that's definitely overstepping.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, let's talk about this trial a little bit, because we can do predictions all day, and we will in a minute again. We can speculate about everything in the next 2 episodes. I guess first, before we talk about the trial, all 4 of us were a little critical of this show for the first couple episodes, and it got better and it got better. And now this show's really good. Like,
Very
it
good.
really... And Raphael said it. When we had Raphael Sparge on a couple weeks ago, who plays Mulk, he said it takes a couple episodes for shows to get going, which we knew. But he was right, and this one really got going.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we're all pretty happy
At
with
first,
it.
we didn't want to watch, and now we want to keep watching.
Yeah, now we don't want it to end at 10. Like, let's keep doing something
Right.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting how so many things unraveled and just more questions came up. I mean, it started with such a simple premise: one murder for the whole season, one guy whose hands are just painted with blood, basically. And we kind of went back and forth, like, who it was, and now it's sort of interesting because we're at the same place where we were, but it's so like it's so much more intense now. Like, we still have the same suspect, but it's like I was shocked
Like a
when he
different
said
level
that.
of playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this trial now. It's taken us 10, 12 minutes to actually get in the show, but that's cool.
Yeah.
We had to start with that thing with Eric. That's a bomb drop. That's a huge bomb drop, and I want to talk about how English reacted. But before we do that, what about Eric going on the stand? Because we saw Ivana on the stand, we saw Salter on the stand. High drama, high intensity, but relatively normal. There were objections and kind of fighting between Saletti and Daniels. But Eric going on the stand, always a bad idea. Always a bad idea. What's the number one rule? Don't incriminate yourself. What's the easiest way not to incriminate yourself? Don't say anything. Don't go on the stand. And he wants to do it because he's a loose cannon, and it paid off for him for a while until Saletti finally got him. And that was bad. But it didn't end up mattering, did it?
No.
Well, Daniels, he's so good.
Yeah, Daniels.
Those closing arguments.
Yeah, Saletti was just trying to pick on him, right? To try to show his true personality and how aggressive he can be, but it didn't contribute to the case. There was no proof, right? And Daniels was really good at making sure they knew that there was no proof.
Yeah.
I know we don't know a ton about Jackie Perez as a lawyer, but was Saletti the right person to try the case? I know when you're in a big city like this, you see it on like Law and Order in New York, the DA doesn't try a lot of cases. The DA is more of a political position, but guess what? That's still an attorney. You are the district attorney. So if you have a huge case like this, where what did Hannah say, over 1,000 media members are officially covering it, does the DA maybe step in on a case like this? I mean, was Saletti the right guy, or was he too kind of aggressive himself?
I don't think Saletti was the right guy, but there's something about him. I don't think he is somebody like Warren Daniels, where I think Jackie is. Jackie has that whole demeanor that Warren Daniels has. And I don't know, not to go too much into predictions, but to me, something is off with Jackie. Something.
We said that last week.
And
from the beginning.
From the beginning, we noticed. Yeah, I think from the beginning we noticed. But then she kind of fell off the radar, and we kind of forgot about her. And now that she's back, I feel something like I don't know.
She's always too quiet. She never like comments on things, and she's kind of on her own. She tries to blame the detectives for things that happen, but she never really helps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. I mean, I think that's why I'm so gravitated to this show, is because everybody is dirty in a sense. Like, there's no completely clean character. Even the DA, who's like the head of the like justice system on their team, basically, is not good. I mean, she lost basically. On the news thing, she had to turn it off because she looked so foolish.
Yeah.
Spending all this money and losing. It's basically O.J. Simpson all over again.
100% it is. And that's an interesting point to make about the media, because they talked about media quite a bit in this episode. And Nancy Grace, they mentioned watching the television and poisoning themselves. And Mulligan was kind of like, all these jurors have watched Nancy Grace. They've watched the television and poisoned themselves. And there were a lot of discussions about media, not so like over the top discussions, but little kind of implicit things about how media functions and how court cases like this, the defendant's being tried in the media before he's being tried in court. So I'll be interested to see the media fallout next week and the following week, not just with Jackie, but with Blunt, who's now a free man. And knowing his personality, I have a feeling he's going to talk to somebody.
Yeah, he's going to screw it up, for sure. That's almost a guarantee.
Or he's going to do what OJ did. This is a great prediction.
Right.
He's going to do what OJ did.
Just write a book
Steal a
about it.
He's going to write the book. That If I Did It book that OJ tried to write, they didn't let him write it or whatever. His proceeds had to go to the family of Nicole Goldman or whatever it was. This is going to happen to Blunt. I'm telling you. He's going to write a book.
He's gonna write a book.
He's going to write a book.
He's going to tweet it. Just, I did it.
This is his crime of the century. It's him being famous and in the public eye, and it's a total win for Blunt because A, he's been found not guilty by a jury of his peers. You can't touch him again, no double jeopardy. And B, he can now say pretty much whatever he wants. He probably shouldn't go to CNN and say, hey, I actually killed her.
Yeah.
But he can kind of gloat in the media and do whatever he wants because he wants the focus. He wants the cameras and stuff, and he doesn't care what else happens. He's already rich. What's the difference?
And innocent.
And innocent. And little do we know the truth. He's innocent because he's been found innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I will say about Daniels and Saletti, it was interesting to watch the dynamic of them fighting with each other in court. And they're both two veteran lawyers. We know Daniels has done this a lot before, and Saletti surely has too. But I can't help but wonder, Daniels, the Doberman, almost played this like it was a game in a way, because it kind of is when you're a lawyer and it's not your life on the line. Eric said it, it's not your life, it's mine. And Daniels kind of treated it like a game, and like a game of chess and a little cat and mouse and playing back and forth. And I got the feeling that Saletti, especially when the verdict was read, really took it personally. Eric being not guilty, that doesn't mean Saletti gets fired. That doesn't mean Saletti goes to jail. His life continues on. And I know it's a big case, but he really took it hard for a professional attorney. So I wonder just a little bit if his head wasn't really in the right place.
Right.
I think they all, Saletti, the detectives, they all think they had it from the beginning. And they played it that way instead of really doing their research and really trying to dig into there to get some sort of proof. I think they were just trying to play with what they already had, and they thought it was enough, and that was a weak point for them.
Yeah.
But I did really like the format that they did. The back and forth between Daniels and Saletti was really great. I was like, oh, I believe him, and then the other one would come up like, oh, I believe him too. It was like back and forth. He has a point. He has a point. He has a point. So it was interesting.
Well, I guess I'll ask you guys, did the jury get it right?
Yes. Yes.
You say that pretty quickly.
I said that from the beginning. I don't think Eric pulled the trigger. I don't think Eric strangled her.
I mean, even besides that, whether or not he pulled the trigger or strangled her, because he did admit to it. Do you think, with what the jury knew, with what we knew the jury knew?
Yes, I don't think there was reasonable proof. Or
there was enough reasonable doubt.
Oh yeah, there was enough reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
There was not proof that he did it. Unfortunately, there was just a lot of information that was like, look, he was there. It makes sense if he did it. But I don't think they had the proof for it. Not at all.
Right, I agree with that. I mean, I think that Daniels did such a good job. Obviously, he's paid $10 million. But, I mean, it sort of showed how the justice system works. And, I mean, for better or for worse. I think the jury made the best decision they could. And if I was one of them, I think I would have made the same one. Just because it didn't seem like there was any concrete proof that they could show. I mean, everything, there's so many other factors and other suspects. There was really no definite, like, he did this. And that's sort of a kind of a commentary in my mind of how the justice system doesn't work. I mean, it's a give and take, obviously. There's different scenarios where it would help people in a wrongfully accused situation. But if Eric really did do this, it's kind of like, it sucks that he can get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see, and there's really no way to find this out. We don't have the powers to read people's minds. But you hear a lot about death row inmates or people convicted of murder who go back and have their cases done by the Innocence Project and all these other projects and are found not guilty by DNA evidence. And you see it happens rarely, but a lot of people relatively do get let out of prison because it turns out they were convicted wrongfully. I wonder the flip side of that. How many people are acquitted of things on the murder scope, big things, that they actually did do? How many people literally get away with murder? I know it doesn't have much to do with this case, but I guess I'm just interested in how common something like this actually happens. I don't know.
That's true.
I feel like it might be a lot.
It certainly could.
Statistically,
Yeah.
57 people that kill someone get away with it.
50%?
57.
57.
Oh, wow.
Wow, so more than.
So we
fake
have a better chance
statistic.
of
Who-
getting away
Yeah.
with it.
Did you make that statistic up?
Yeah, who would have that statistic? No one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like,
Jeez, Phil.
wow, that
and
was so
I
quick.
fell for it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Phil.
I know when Phil started talking, I was like, who is
I know, it's like
Yeah.
the voice from the skies.
Well, he can't be wrong. It's a voice from the sky.
Yeah.
Is always right. But no, I mean, I really wonder about that, and I wonder about how, I guess where does Blunt go from here in his own life? Because we can talk about the media, we can talk about whatever, but if he killed her, is this a one-time killing for him, or do we think he is serial killer-ish? I don't know if you'd call him a serial killer because its motives are different, but did he do this to his dad? Did he do this to anybody else in the past? We know he's drugged women too. So with this pattern, is he just going to repeat this and do it again and eventually get copped one day for another murder?
Yeah, I think he feels invincible. I think this is making him feel even more capable of taking anything on. The money, the power, this has got to make him feel like he can do absolutely anything and get away with it. So whether let's say he is a serial killer at this point, it's just going to keep going. And if he's not, it's going to start. It's the spark of it.
Yeah.
You know, people like that, they want the thrill of it. It's like, can I get away with it? I've been getting away with
Right.
it.
I mean, we keep bringing up O.J. Simpson, or I keep
Yeah.
doing it, but it's
Man Crush Monday.
the exact same situation. I mean, he got away. He tried to write that book. I mean, he even committed the same crime again, like on someone else. And
Yeah.
thank God, like that time, it actually.
If you guys want your minds blown, by the way, O.J. Simpson, the police chase, the Ford Bronco, June 17th, 1994.
Wow.
It's 20 years.
Long time ago.
I remember watching. I'm not even old.
Wow.
I remember watching OJ and the Ford Bronco and all that sort of stuff. There's a phenomenal sports documentary actually called June 17th, 1994 that pretty much chronicles that in relation to all the sporting events of the day. It's fascinating. It has nothing to do with this show, but it's fascinating. My other question for you guys, and this is a long discussion that we won't make long, but it's complicated. Because, Marina, you were talking about this. Coming from another country, if you're not as familiar with the justice system here, this is kind of a shock to learn about double jeopardy and that sort of stuff. So I wonder for you guys, the way that this case turned out, does that mean that our justice system in cases like this is broken? I guess, would you rather have a murderer, like Eric apparently, walk free because reasonable doubt was given, and let it be a little more liberal towards the murderer's side and make sure reasonable doubt stays intact? Or would you rather be more ironclad and over-convict people to make sure you get every murderer? Does that make sense? Is our system broken, or is this the way it should have worked?
This is what I think. I think it's right for the government not to want that person to be harassed or bothered the rest of their lives if they're convicted innocent. But I think if in the future there is concrete proof, like I'm not saying, oh, let's go to a trial, maybe we'll get it. Like listen, like I have this and this proves that you did it, then they should. I mean, if they have something that is like 100% like you did it.
Like
then,
DNA.
Yeah, like DNA, prints, photos, whatever, video, then they should be punished for it. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't if there is concrete proof.
I feel the opposite way. I personally really like it, and I know that it can be tough in a situation like that, but the presumption of innocence is such a core aspect of it, and it's really tough to do. Unfortunately, I've never known anybody who's been a victim of anything like this, so I haven't had to go through it. But that presumption of innocence, that you, just like you said, you can't be harassed, it's over, you only get one crack at it. And I would rather presume innocence and have situations like this happen occasionally than go the other way and take people's lives and send them in jail, wrongfully convicting them for whatever.
Right, I wouldn't want that.
As painful as reasonable doubt is, I think it's one of those core things, and as much as it sucks to see it happen to Eric, I think you need reasonable doubt to say it's on the onus of the prosecutors to do this. It's not on the onus of the defendant to prove why they didn't do it.
I agree. If it didn't exist, I think that everyone would just go for the easy out and say, yes, guilty. Better to be safe than sorry. That would be the mentality that people would take. And as much as it sucks to think that, yes, I'd rather Eric Blunt get away than to lose that whole process of innocence and everything.
Yeah.
I think it's the way to go.
And don't forget, this is America. And in America, what do? We sue people.
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say that. I mean,
Literally.
if we didn't have that, you would honestly never get out of a trial. I mean,
Yeah.
they would just be like, "Oh, guess what? Another piece of evidence just came in.
You'd have a 50-year trial.
We're back. We're back." Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't like that. Like I said, I think it should happen only if they had like real proof.
But when real proof comes, if that came, or if Eric next episode goes on camera and says I killed her, he will be slapped with a huge civil suit, and that's what happened to OJ. OJ got away with the murder trial, but then was slapped with a massive civil suit, and now we know what he's doing. It ain't good. So he did, in a way, obviously, if OJ had actually killed people, which it looks like he might have, he's not serving the time he should have been for that murder.
Yeah.
But guess what? He did have some sort of penalty for it, and it doesn't make up for it. But it's still that civil suit still sort of closed the deal. And something like that, if this had been real life, would definitely happen to Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Especially considering where he's from and the money he's made and all that sort of stuff. Let's transition forward now to Bill, because that case is apparently over and done with. What about your guy Bill, JB?
Bill.
I like him less and less every episode.
Well, yeah, that's why I think he's involved.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they're both dirty. If Eric, say, killed Christy, then we don't know what happened to Eric's dad. I mean, that
Or
could
Cindy.
be, Cindy. Sorry, yeah.
I know we do too many TV shows.
Yeah, seriously.
But
Cindy.
wait a minute, Eric killed Christy too?
It's just,
I was
he's
like,
a madman, killing people left and right. It's interesting because I believe Eric's dad was shot, right?
Yeah.
We all know that Eric has the martial arts training, which would have helped within Cindy's death. Snapping necks. I assume he can do that with a triple black belt or whatever he has. And, but it seems like Bill is almost too connected to Eric for it just to be professional relationship. I mean, they were sort of almost like babysitting Eric, making sure he wasn't alone all the time. I mean, his lawyer obviously is paid to do that, but Bill is just his pilot.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's got to be a stronger connection. Maybe he did something for Eric. Maybe it's more of a give and take, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's something. I think one did a favor for the other, and then the other returned the favor. And I think everyone's slightly dirty.
Can I say something completely out of the blue?
We've been
Sure.
doing it all day.
What if Eric and Bill have a thing going on?
Wow.
Like a
thing.
sexual thing.
Yeah.
Whoa, I don't think that.
I don't think it either, but think about it, because
It
Eric...
would make
Elaborate,
sense. Why,
elaborate,
it would make
elaborate.
sense
Enough.
for why Eric sent that to his wife.
Absolutely, and it would make sense why Eric treated Bill the way he did after he admitted to sending that thing. And I
Yeah.
know it was little, but putting his armor, he
Yeah.
did like this. He did one of these and stuff.
And he's like,
which is-
I knew it was the best
Exactly.
thing for you.
Which is a little it wasn't overly sexual at all, but
Yeah.
it was Eric doesn't touch people. He's not physically intimate. So for him to do it with Bill, it was either sort of like a big brother relationship with Bill or something, or it might have been something. That's not
Who
the craziest
knows?
thing I've ever heard. You never know.
Fair
Two
enough.
episodes.
We got 2 episodes. Something's
Figure
gonna
it
happen.
out.
Something big is gonna happen. I mean, I still think that Bill is going. I mean, he's unbelievably upset. He wanted to patch things up with his marriage. Now that that's pretty clear, it's not gonna be fixed ever again. I think he's just gonna basically take Eric down with him. I think they're involved in something else, and Bill is gonna sacrifice his own freedom to take Eric out.
I would believe that, actually, because if Bill is that torn up about his marriage and admitted to his wife straight up, Cindy was a mistake, I shouldn't have done it, take me back. If he's at that point already with the wife and doesn't want to go through the divorce, what else would he live for? He doesn't care. I don't think he loves being a pilot for Eric that much, that his job is there. I don't believe Bill and his wife have kids.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing we've seen. So it's like, what else would he be? He's not living for the car. Who cares?
Right.
So maybe he does just go into a spiral and decide to take Eric down. Or alternatively, maybe Bill's wife finds out the video came from Eric and she does something to Eric or does something to both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. We do know Bill has anger issues. He did hit his wife in full view of lawyers. So with those anger issues, we do know Bill's capable of something. And I've said this before, man, pilots, I'm telling you, it's not all pilots, but he came from an Air Force background. And if you're flying fighter jets, you're an adrenaline junkie. You love having a rush. You're a little crazy, and I mean that in a good way, although Bill may be crazy in a bad way. But you have kind of this wild streak to you that can kind of get out of control because you like taking risk. And maybe Bill still likes taking risks, even though he's retired from the Air Force. And this is part of that wild streak coming out of his personality.
Right. I mean, we saw him go ham at Burning Man.
Yeah.
So I feel like they
That
kind of
was-
have like a bros partying relationship. and they obviously celebrate together. They probably do drugs and drink together. It's not inconceivable that they're also involved in other illicit activities.
Yeah. Or maybe other sexual activity.
True.
If
Maybe
that
he's
is
just
true,
do it
Maybe
all.
he's a sex addict, guys. Come on,
That
he
may be
has
true.
with
That might be true.
everybody
Yeah, I mean,
in his company.
They both were having a relationship with Cindy, so I feel like that could have been a threesome scenario. We don't know.
Yeah, I think the only person maybe he didn't have sex with was the ponytail guy.
Whoa, do not bring Hertzberg into this part.
Well, we
Do
don't
not-
know that for sure.
Do
He
not
could've.
bring my
He
guy
could've.
into this part of it. I will not accept that. All right, I want to get to I'm going to get to news right now because I know we're going to have a lot more to do on predictions. So let's jump into it. News and gossip first.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, I got two good things for you guys, folks. If you don't already know, Monse and Marina and I do The Last Ship, another TNT show, which is phenomenal
Great.
by
Awesome.
itself. The reason I mention that is Eric Dane, who was on The Last Ship, and Kathleen Robertson, y'all know her as Mulligan. She had about a line and a half tonight.
crazy, I know.
Not around very much, but that's okay. They're
A
going
smirk at the end.
a smirk in that one line in when they were watching the trial on television, the Matrix thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Matrix thing,
Oh,
and the
right.
smirk, and that was about it.
I almost
So,
forgot about that whole
yeah.
part. Yeah.
She took the blue pill or the red pill.
I'm not blue.
Whatever's truth. She always tells
Yeah.
the truth.
No,
Yeah.
the red pill is the truth. Blue is same reality.
So she took the red. Okay.
Whatever. The
You gotta
truth is-
rewatch
The
yeah,
Matrix.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So
Thanks a lot.
McSteamy.
Doesn't literally has nothing to do with anything. So Eric Dane, McSteamy,
Yes.
and Kathleen Robertson are going to be on a mini series called The Fixer. It is filming right now in Montreal. They're shopping it worldwide. It will be available in Canada, from what I understand, and probably be available here when they can distribute it. It features Robertson. She is the lead as an investigator probing an oil rig disaster and facing a rival private investigation by a secret tipster played by McSteamy.
McSteamy. Yeah.
So this may be a little True Detective style, little 4-episode miniseries. Who knows what'll come of it? But it is called The Fixer, so hopefully look for that pretty soon.
That's exciting.
Robertson's had a pretty nice career in and of itself. The second one is good, and we've got pictures for it too. We talked a lot about Taye Diggs and his personal life and his Twitter account and all those things. He is selling his Studio City home for $3 million. You can see it on the screen.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Wait till you guys see the inside of it. That's the back pool. He's got kids, so he wants to put the fence around the pool, of course. According to Trulia, the real estate blog, he's selling a Studio City home. He shared it with Idina Menzel. They're, of course, getting divorced.
Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem. Here's the good part. They purchased this in 2010 for $2 million, and they're trying to sell it now for $3 million. So that's a pretty good flip,
That is.
considering the
Nice.
real estate
Yeah.
market. 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and these pictures with an open floor plan. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Sign
If
me up.
somebody else pays for it.
I'll tell you what. I'll take it, and I'll run his Twitter account for free.
Oh.
Nice.
That'll be the repayment for that. I'll run his good Twitter account. All right, enough news. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Taye Diggs. Don't block me on Twitter. Let's get to predictions. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I've got a wild one for you guys. I'll
Go
start it
for
off
it.
Go.
and let you kind of know where I'm at so y'all can match me. I believe that because Mulligan and English have been criticized for their clearance rates on convictions and the homicide department is under heat for these clearance rates, because Eric Blunt was acquitted, I believe English and possibly Mulligan will be let go. Or they will be sent back to narcotics or something, and they will take new homicide detectives here. When that happens, I think English is going to go off the rails, and I think he will confront and kill Eric Blunt.
I don't think so.
It's pretty wild.
It is wild.
But
I'll
he
give you
knows
that. I'll give you
he
that.
was the one. Blunt got up in his face and said, I did kill that dumb bitch. And English has been working too hard. He's got too much of a sense of honor and stuff. He knows killing Blunt would be wrong, but I also think he's so mad. He's been working with Chris, with that guy about the other murder. I think English could go off the rails and do something really bad.
Man, pretty bold statement. I don't think he's going to commit murder. I think he's got it too much under control. I mean, we saw him lose his wife. He handled that pretty good.
But that's the thing. This is assuming a lot, but assuming he gets removed from homicide or reprimanded or whatever,
Right.
the wife's gone, the family's gone, homicide's gone, what does he have to lose? Who cares? You know, he's at the end of the rope in a lot of ways.
He kicked
Right.
out the real Dora.
Oh Lord, he better not see her ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's over. Yeah, I mean, he definitely doesn't have a lot to lose at this point, especially if he does lose his job.
Yeah.
But I think if even in that scenario, I think he would still go the route of the vigilante seeking justice,
Yeah.
just short of committing a crime that big. I definitely think he's not going to stop until Eric is either in bars or dead.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to pull the trigger himself.
I agree. I don't think he's going to kill Eric. I do think something's going to happen with Chris. That is going to... They're going to find out something. I just don't know what is the point of them bringing Chris back on the show and keep talking about it if nothing is going to happen. So I think something's going to happen with Chris. And I'll stick with Bill killing Eric for now. I really have no idea. I mean, I think it would be great if they just turned out to be gay. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it would be a judge.
And
a
that's
judge
why they
robber.
killed Cindy.
Talk about a left turn
we're gay,
for their own
sorry.
love.
Yeah.
Cindy's getting in
We
between
gotta
them.
get rid of her.
Can we agree, Monty, before you give yours, can we all kind of agree that Eric's got a pretty good chance of dying in the next 2 episodes at
Yeah.
somebody's hand? A lot of people are mad at him.
I agree.
Yes, I agree that a lot of people are mad at him. I don't think he is going to die. I think that the murder of his father is going to be how they get him back on trial. That's why Chris is back in the picture. We know he didn't do it. And I do think that Eric Lunt killed his father. I do think that. And I think that's how they're going to get him. I don't see Bill killing him. And if he does try and kill him, I see Eric knowing about it and then killing him in return.
And killing Bill.
So I don't see Eric dying at any point in the next 2 episodes. Bill, probably. I see that happening, yeah. And I don't see them getting fired or English killing Eric. No.
Hey, that was out there, but you got to make a prediction that's out there.
Yeah.
If you're going to go
So
all
you
the
make
way.
a prediction
all
that
the
you
way.
think can actually happen, not a prediction that you pull out of your rear.
Oh.
When it happens,
Win some, lose some.
when it happens, you're going to order takeout Chinese food or something for the whole studio.
Deal. If
Pizza
English
next week.
or
Nice.
Mulligan get fired
Ooh, pizza.
and English goes in on a berserkist life, I don't know, killing Eric, I will feed us.
Cool. Just so you're on
Excellent. I
record
like
saying
that.
it.
Yeah.
I will feed us.
Just so you're on record saying it.
I like your prediction because it connects Chris in
Yeah.
there.
Oh, my prediction.
Yeah, your
not
prediction.
That one over
Yeah,
there.
no, yours.
Okay. Join the dark side.
Hey, I will say though, it's interesting to talk about Eric and his dad's murder because this would be, it's not double jeopardy because it's a different crime, but in a weird metaphorical way, this is the double jeopardy idea.
Yeah.
Win, the title of this episode, Win Some, Lose Some. They lost this case. Maybe they win some in the next 2 weeks or get down that path when Eric comes clean or they convict him of the dad's murder. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Agreed.
Not bad. I can't
Yeah,
wait for
the
these
plot
next 2 weeks.
thickens.
I cannot wait.
No.
I think more people are going to die too. I think we're just not thinking outside the box, but I think other people will die.
I think with all due respect, I was thinking pretty far outside the box.
Right, but
Yeah,
yours
no,
is
definitely.
like in a different show. Like you're thinking about something that has nothing to do with murder in the first. I'm talking about the characters that could possibly die that don't need to return next season.
All I know, listen, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. If episode 9, the second to last episode, if Hertzberg dies, I'm not even going to be here for the last episode.
Yes, I am off the
I'm
show.
done. If Hertzberg's done, I'm done.
What about
No,
Jackie
the
Perez?
lawyers never get killed. I think that's pretty.
Ponytail's going to jail.
What about Daniels? Daniels is such a mean something or other dude, and he was so integral to this whole show. Do you think we see him in the next 2 weeks?
Yes.
I don't know. Actually, I mean, I don't think so. He's so business. Like, this is it. That's all our relationship is you in this trial. You know, he kind of left and came back, but he's done. I mean, he does not want this at all. And you were saying about Soletti being more emotional. It was sort of their coming up story. I mean, they were sort of the Davids fighting against Daniels. You know, even the DA, it was all so much press, so much around this trial. I mean, such a high-profile case. They're all, you know, the underdogs sort of coming up, and the fact that they lost, it's devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, Soletti would have made his entire career if he won.
Yeah.
Daniels obviously has had a pretty long career already, so it's not as big for him. Plus, he's getting paid $10 million no matter what, so there's that.
I will say this. I don't think Daniels likes Eric at all.
Oh,
you know,
he hates
doesn't,
him.
right.
I'm pretty, yeah.
So I think this would be another crazy prediction. What if he finds out the truth about Eric's dad and he turns Eric in?
Well, that's the thing.
get caught.
Daniels is not like in it for right or wrong, really. He's a lawyer. He does his job. His job is to make the jury either prove beyond a reasonable doubt that someone did it or the opposite. I mean, depending on what he's hired for.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's off for work. I'm totally with you, but I think he's going to come back because he's going to have work. That's why I think he'll come back.
As the defense attorney again.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Question,
Like, they're
though,
gonna need him.
if he does go on trial again, say for his dad's murder, do you think Daniels would take that case?
No. But I think he'll come back. I think that's why he's not going to leave the show the next 2 episodes. But I don't think he's going to take it. And out of all the people, remember we were talking about a web and everyone's like dirty and stuff. You weren't here for this. But I said that all the people are in some way involved, but not everybody knows everything. And then I said ponytail guy is the one who knows everything. Everyone's bad doing. Right? So I kind of agreed with that. The ponytail guy was the bad
Hertzberg,
one.
yeah.
Yes, him. I just like ponytail guy. Even though I know his name. But I think...
We call ponytail guy Bruce Jenner. Just for
but I
Too
think,
much?
The other ponytail
No,
guy.
it's perfect.
I think Warren Daniels is the only one that's going to walk out of this whole situation and continue his life. I think everybody else will in some way be affected by the end of the next 2 weeks.
Plus, I think Daniels, walked away with the win. I think he's just ready to be like, we're done, Eric. Like,
Yeah, I don't think he'll
let's
take
part
another
ways.
case. I don't think he'll take another case.
He would never work again with
But
Eric.
I would like him
Right.
to turn Eric in. That would be nice.
I could see that happening. I don't
like
know
a
what
slap
evidence
in
he
the
would
face.
get.
It's like, yes, I took your money and I sent
I got
you
your
to
$10
go.
million and nobody has to deal with you again because you're
Yeah.
going to jail.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love it. All
Which
right,
can
guys.
happen.
2 more weeks to go.
Oh,
I can't wait.
I'm sad now.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited. I want it
I'm
right
excited
now.
to see,
Yeah.
but
We
I'm
should
sad it's
just-
ending in.
Binge
We
the
should
rest
just
of the
have
season.
pizza anyway, even if I
We
don't
should.
lose the
Yeah.
bet.
On
Next
Monse.
week.
On Monse. I love it.
Why? I am a baller on a budget. The struggle is real, guys.
All right, baller on a budget. Maybe you can set up a social media campaign. People can donate
Yeah.
to your Kickstarter. Where can they find?
Please, we need to raise $20 for a pizza
Yeah,
next week.
exactly. Pizza party.
We'll do a Kickstarter campaign for the pizza.
Monse, where can they find you on Twitter to tweet you their money?
Yes, you guys can tweet me or find me on Instagram at Monse Bolanos.
Nice. You guys can find me at JB_Zimmerman.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rena Brazil.
And I'm on Twitter at Bobby DeMuro. I'm releasing a documentary film this week. You can see it on Twitter if you follow me. It is very cool. It is about Skid Row here in Los Angeles. And actually an AFTERBUZZ host who I followed on Skid Row. It's baller, as you would say, Monse. So follow me on Twitter. You can see that this week. We'll see you guys another week for Murder in the First, huh?
Yeah.
I can't wait,
Absolutely.
man. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.